Hello, I am live. So let's put the countdown timer on. Let's go through the 5 minutes of fame. Come in the credit and crypto and cash flow. Drop your seat and state and just simply say hello. Right? Simply say hello with everything set up and going. As we discuss the topic of the day, two topics of the day. One, how cryptocurrency can help build wealth, or is the pathway to wealth. And number two, or maybe it's number one, the Ramsey statement about if you need, or depending on the $600, $1,400 stimulus, they can pretty much school. So come in the credit and cash flow loan life, and drop the city and say hello. Share this live stream. If you're on Periscope, pump those hard, show some extra love, invite your followers. If you are on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and like and share. You can share this on your personal YouTube page. Facebook, do the same. Share this on your personal Facebook page as well. So come in. And if I may or may not do a live stream tomorrow, hello everyone coming in. So happy love day to you. Right, happy love day to you. Happy day. Actually, you want to go somewhere and just relax today. I'm going to be a part of communism, right? Or I'm sorry, capitalism, not communism. Capitalism as we're going to go after the celebration just to relax and unwind. So happy Valentine's Day to you all as well. Just to relax and unwind, right? Hello. Can't hear me? I didn't think the music was too loud. It's getting low on my end, right? But as always, you can't please everybody, so how about no music? There's no music. It wasn't too loud on my end. You can't hear me. Hello, Gina. Hello to you from New York. Hello. Coming in as we have the conference left. 5 minutes of fame. Hello, Atlanta. Is in the credit and cash flow loan. Atlanta is in the credit and cash flow loan. As we go through this. This bothering you, just stay subscribed. Gina says to smash the thumbs up while smashing like thumbs up. Let's get more people in. Let's get more people in the credit. Crypto. We have a lot to share today. I will under an hour, right? Under 60 minutes. So let's discuss this. Mr. Dave Ramsey, the financial advisor for the poor, working middle class, financial advisor for the poor, working middle class. Come in and say hello again, drop the and stay, or just say hello. City or state, but again, that Ramsey said if it's $600 stimulus or even $1,400 stimulus, change your life. You're already screwed. Already screwed. So let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation about this. Let's talk about stimulus. Let me know. Or for those who may or may not have heard, is he wrong about this? it's fine. We are out of the 5 minutes of fame. Anyway, so hello, Atlanta is in the credit and cash flow room. All right, so let's get right into the discussion. Let's discuss Dave Ramsey and his comment. Let me know if you all can hear me well, right, before I get into this without the timer. I literally had it on volume, I think it was 5, maybe 5 or 10. So I don't know. All right, thank you. There we go. Um, there we go. So I literally had the volume on like 5 or 10. But let's get into Dave Ramsey and let me share the screen. Hello, everyone coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Give me 1 second to change this. Let's share the screen, right? Let's listen to Mr. Ramsey. And I'm really late doing a live stream about this, right? There's been a live stream that's already aired. So, but this might be some new news or information to others, right? About this Fox News interview. So let's get right into it. Turn this volume up. I cut the volume down, so let's see how this works.
We need to understand, we got $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. $192 billion out of that, not so much. Let's do some ratios, folks. If we're going to do math, we probably ought to play math. Now, on top of that, when you dig into it, the whole idea that student loans being forgiven is going to stimulate the economy, that assumes that people were getting ready to pay them off this year and instead would use that same $40,000 that they were getting ready to pay off their student loan and stimulate the economy with it. Again, that's economic hogwash. It's smoke and mirrors. It's simply not going to happen.
Dave, I just think there's a moral hazard doing this. You're young,
absolutely.
You signed a financial contract. You have an obligation to pay that money back.
Absolutely. And well, listen, there's some situations where folks are hurting and this thing has it's gotten completely out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people's lives who have been destroyed by this program. Somebody needs some relief somewhere. I'm fine with that. But this has nothing to do with really helping people. This is a political gimme by progressives simply trying to buy votes. And we know that because when you go from 10,000 in forgiveness to 50,000 in forgiveness, the people who benefit are not lower income people. The vast majority of people that have an average income or less have less than $10,000 of student loan debt. The vast majority of people who will be blessed by moving it from 10 to 50 are high income earners. So again, this is all political rhetoric. It's not
Dave,
reality.
You come from an interesting perspective. You talk to Americans across the country every day on your radio program.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the right number or the right answer for the next stimulus check?
Well, I don't believe in a stimulus check because if $600 or $1,400 changes your life, you were pretty much screwed already. You got other issues going on. You have a career problem, you have a debt problem, you have a relationship problem, you have a mental health problem. Something else is going on.
Okay, so let's pause there. He said if $600, $1,400 stimulus, right, changed your life, you were pretty much screwed anyway, right? You have a career problem. You have a relationship problem. You have a debt problem. He even went as far to say that you have a mental problem. Let's replay this. Let's rewind, right? And let's go back, right? Because they also stated that they feel like the paying back of student loans is a moral obligation. So let's replay this. It's only like 2 minutes. Right?
To start with, we need to understand we got $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. $192 billion out of that, not so much. Let's do some ratios, folks. If we're going to do math, we probably ought to play math. Now, on top of that, when you dig into it, the whole idea that student loans being forgiven is going to stimulate the economy, that assumes that people were getting ready to pay them off this year and instead would use that same $40,000 that they were getting ready to pay off their student loan and stimulate the economy with it. Again, that's economic hogwash. It's smoke and mirrors. It's simply not going to happen.
Dave, I just think there's a moral hazard doing this. You're young,
absolutely.
You signed a financial contract. You have an obligation to pay that money back.
Absolutely. And well, listen, there's some situations where folks are hurting, and this thing has it's gotten completely out of hand.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people's lives who have been destroyed by this program. Somebody needs some relief somewhere. I'm fine with that. But this has nothing to do with really helping people. This is a political gimme by progressives simply trying to buy votes. And we know that because when you go from 10,000 in forgiveness to 50,000 in forgiveness, the people who benefit are not lower income people. The vast majority of people that have an average income or less have less than $10,000 of student loan debt. Mm-hmm. The vast majority of people who will be blessed by moving it from 10 to 50 are high income earners. So again, this is all political rhetoric. It's not
Dave,
reality.
You come from an interesting perspective. You talk to Americans across the country every day on your radio program.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the right number or the right answer for the next stimulus check?
Well, I don't believe in a stimulus check because if $600 or $1,400 changes your life, you were pretty much screwed already. You got other issues going on. You have a career problem, you have a debt problem, you have a relationship problem, you have a mental health problem. Something else is going on if $600 changes your life. And that's not talking down to folks. I've been bankrupt. I've been broke. And I work with people every day who are hurting. I love people. I want people to be lifted up. But this is, again, it is just political rhetoric, and it's just throwing dollars out there. It's peeing on a forest fire. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so you all can drop your opinion about this video reel that I just shared, and I will elaborate on my opinion. Right. First of all, sometimes I agree with Dave, sometimes I don't. Right. And this is one of the occasions that I do agree with Mr. Dave Ramsey. Um, he said a lot of good things, a lot of things I didn't as much agree with, but and again I do agree with. Let's start with the student loans, right? About student loans being a moral issue. Now, if I was not in the credit industry and did not have access to look at thousands of people's credit report, then I would think that that would be demeaning, right? I think that would be a very cruel thing to say. However, there's two sides of the spectrum. When it comes to student loans, you have those people who went to college, pursued a degree that was not I guess, prosperous decision. It was not advantageous, and they were overcharged for that degree, right? Um, that degree was not a good rate of return, right? There are two or three D's or four D's, right? Four D's that can keep you in financial struggle. One is debt. The second one is a degree, right? And the third one could be a divorce or death of a spouse, right? Debt, bad debt, right? Things that take money out of your pocket. Next is a degree. If you do not do your research and due diligence about what agrees will give you a better rate on return, which ones are not. This is something that is taught in the Jewish community. They teach their children, right? This is a generational practice. They teach their children and their children's what degrees when they go to college, right, are the ones that are most likely to have them in financial stability, right? I'm going to give my daughter as an example. She came to me and said, I want to be a nurse. I said, no, I don't like that field. And we're also in the era where people have to get vaccine and vaccinated. I don't want you getting vaccine with the vaccine created in 10 months, right? And there's been no human clinical, right? On average time, it would take up to 10 years, right? We don't know what's in this vaccine. We don't know what the RNA approved. So nursing degree for your choice and field and the rate of return that it would give you financially, not a good choice. We X that one out, right? These are conversations and discussions that my daughter and I have. Going to college to get a student loans, no, we're Xing that choice option out, right? If you have to go to community college first and then make your way up to university, 4-year degree program, that's fine, right? I don't think these conversations are had enough in the minority households. Number one, being able to choose and recognize degree choices that will not put you in financial burden or financial distress, right? That's number one. However, on the other side of the spectrum, I have looked at credit reports, right? And I've seen 200,000 student loans, $250,000 student loans, 300,000 student loans that was used and abused, used and abused, and was not used to pursue a degree. They took out the student loan because they had a low credit score and they wanted to take advantage of the high figures that they received, and they did not even apply it to the job field, right? One credit report that I remember right off the top of my head, I probably never forget it. It was a six-figure student loan debt, and this person was a truck driver. Six-figure student loan debt. This person was a truck driver. I asked the person, why are you six figures in student loan debt to drive trucks? This requires a high school education, diploma, right? Why are you six figures in student loan debt and you're a truck driver? The person said, well, I wanted to take the money out to buy some other things. And at that time, I thought I wanted to coach a sport on a college level. And then my career choice changed and I decided to drive trucks. I'm like, well, what college did you go to? It doesn't take $200,000 to be a college coach, right? And so, I pursued my degree at an Ivy League college. I've seen these things over and over again, right? When looking at credit reports, that people take out these loans. And I tell people all the time, especially in the Black and brown community, you should question why it's easier for you to get student loan debt versus a business loan, right? The lack of financial education. So I understand exactly where Dave is coming from, saying that, it should be a moral obligation, because sometimes when people are bailed out, right, they don't learn the lesson that should be taught. However, I don't even think it would be a bailout. I believe, right, that even with student loans that being eradicated or erased or forgiven, right, that you're still going to have to include that on your taxes as taxable income. I believe there is no free lunch with the government at all, right? So that's that about student loan. Let's look at some of these comments. Unless it's a well-regarded school, people can easily go to a cheaper state school and work part-time while in school. You may have debt, but it will be lesser. Mighty minority, I agree, right? Sometimes people just want to say, I go to this prestige college, and they could easily earn that degree, or they get in debt, taking out student loan debt for their child, just to be in the inner circle to say, my child attends this college, right? Just like Robert Johnson, when he spoke, was it Harvard, right? Robert Johnson, the millionaire, the black millionaire, and he paid off all of those student loan debt, right? Let me see if I can pull it up. Being the speaker, billionaire, I'm sorry, I said millionaire. And at Morehouse, I'm sorry, I said Harvard, so I'm out. Billionaire Robert Smith says he will, Morehouse College, the class of 2019, right, being the honorary speaker for that class, paid off student loan debt, people. And let me tell you, just to be able to say I graduated from this college or that college, right? It's financially not worth it if you haven't did your due diligence to know what the return on your investment, right? People right now, for example, they are stating that 60% of Americans need skills, right, to enter into the workforce. To enter into the workforce going into 2022. And you know what? Let's look at how much of the student loan debt when he was billionaire Robert. Um, did I say right? I think I'm saying it all wrong. Robert Smith, please excuse me. Billionaire Robert Smith, I think I said Robert Johnson, pledged to pay grads loans, a dream I couldn't have imagined. Billionaire has given much to Morehouse College, and the total amount of the debt was estimated around $40 million. $40 million, right? That's him pictured with Angela Bassett. May 19th, billionaire technology. Look what field he's in, investor. $40 million. And so a lot of times, right, bailout for people who make decisions like this do not teach them the financial lesson that they need to learn. Um, another Miss Harris, one of my Patreon members, says we just had a conversation about this, not being groomed for wealth, entrepreneurship, etc. Husband and I are having those convos with our children. Great job, right? Um, Miss Slaughter says some people make really bad choices. They see that loan and they get off track. Exactly. Bernicia says even the state schools are charging. Exactly. And right now, colleges is most colleges, I said that way, is the biggest pyramid scheme you can ever be a part of because they're overcharging for underpaying degree, right? Overcharging for underpaying degree. Many black and brown do not understand return on investment. Also, many wealthy are teaching their children to get certificates or certifications. I'm sorry, instead of college degrees. So let's dissect, right, the second part of his statement, in which he said that if a $600, right, or $1,400 stimulus, and let me share this screen, changes your life, you were pretty much screwed already, right? This is the article. If a $600, $1,400 stimulus changed your life, you were pretty much screwed already. Mighty Minority said, I think preparing is also an issue. Many people come in without the skills to perform well in college, and the extra classes, graduation delays, and switching majors become costly. I agree, right? Did you all know, for example, most millionaires have no high school degree, and most of them are actually high school dropouts. Right? One person I know is a high school dropout is Aretha Franklin, and you have Bill Gates, no college degree. You know, the wealthiest people in America, right? L Cool J says, I know folks got mad when Dave said what he said. Renisha says, many millennials were told when I was in high school just to go to college. It didn't matter the cost, just to get the degrees if you don't go to college. When I was coming up, you were considered a failure. That is so true. Now, this is the other side of the spectrum or the other flip of the coin, right? Is that when you don't go to college and as a high school graduate, or maybe not a high school graduate, you don't do business, right? Aretha Franklin, for example, mastered her talent. She became a businesswoman in the music world. Bill Gates, a businessman, right? You can't just not pursue higher levels and goal and think a job just over broke is a financial success plan. Listen, just like you can overpay for college and get a underperforming certificate or piece of paper degree. You can also graduate from high school and get a job. Both of those to me are the same thing. In the Bible is one specific scripture. I call the Bible the number one book on banking, or one of my followers did, right? The number one book on prosperity, the number one book on financial success. And this one scripture in the Bible simply says to do this. And it was not to get a job, right? Um, it says to simply do business until I return, until I come back. Let me show you the scripture, right? I think it's also in Romans, right? But also in Luke chapter 19 and 13. And he called 10 servants of his, and gave them 10 pounds, and said unto them, trade until I come, or basically do business until I come. So if you're not doing business, you are setting yourself up for financial failure. Now, this is another issue, though, I do have with Dave. You said that people are pretty much screwed if they are depending on or a $600 or $1,400 stimulus check change their life. If they are screwed, then you did the screwing, Mr. Ramsey, with your financial advice and the lack of providing a holistic financial education for your followers. If they are being screwed, you did the pumping, right? I don't hate that he said it. You all are going to see during this year, right, and going into next year, the ramifications of following Mr. Ramsey's advice. Right, exactly, Derek. I've taught this on my live stream a lot of times. The reason why you don't learn about business and credit in high school is all because of Dale Carnegie and the Rockefeller Foundation. Right, they wanted to create workers and not thinkers. Right, they wanted to create workers and not thinkers. They wanted a generation or a people that were workers and not thinkers. And it was strategically done, right? Where you don't learn about business and using credit, or even about the monetary system. John D. Rockefeller, I'll share this quote with you, said, I want to create a nation of thinkers and not workers, right? And so, again, if you all are screwed, Dave Ramsey did the screwing. He did it. He set the stage, and now he's pretty much telling you, oh, well, he told you to save cash, stack your cash, created the General Education Board in 1903, right, with Rockefeller and Dale Carnegie. That's why when you go to a lot of colleges, you see Carnegie Hall. And they created this in 1903 to strategically ensure, or to make sure, that you don't learn about business and credit and money, right? Gwen says finances are talk about the dinner table. It starts at home. Well, you can't teach what you don't know, right? People talk at the dinner table about things that they know, and even some things that they don't know about. But you cannot teach what you do not know. And this is why strategically school systems are set up to make people want to be employees and not entrepreneurs. That's why everything is done bell to bell. That's why you raise your right hand. That's why the left side of your brain, the creative side of your brain, is not tapped into. That's why there's no peer-to-peer learning in the classroom. Everything is individualized. The only time in a school system where you understand teamwork and network is through sports and extracurricular activities and using the creative side of your brain, which is the left side. But when you get into the academic world, academia world, then everything, right, is geared for individualism. Everything is geared for individualism. And so you only learn, only stimulated, right, from the right side of your brain. And you don't understand network marketing. You don't understand doing business. You don't understand creating a business team. You don't understand the power of teamwork. Was it Henry Ford who said, I'd rather earn 1%, right? I would rather earn 1% from 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. I think that was Henry Ford. And this is what people do not understand, right? This is why I talk to people about, no, I'm sorry, it was John D. Rockefeller that said that quote. I'm sorry. John D. Rockefeller, I would rather earn 1% off 100 people's effort, right, than 100% of my own. And this is why I teach people about the home-based business and network marketing, right? This is why I get people used to live streaming and Zoom and technology, because we are entering the fourth industrial revolution, people, which means more technology and more artificial intelligence, which is what you see with iRobot and um, the new robot that they have. Um, that's widely talked about. What is that robot name? I forgot the robot name, but I'll pull her up in a minute. And so John D. Rockefeller, the very person that did not want business and credit taught in school, right? Sophie, that's the name of the robot. I'd rather on 1% off 100 people effort than 100% of my own. This is how business people think. They do not think in terms of jobs, right? They do not think in terms of not having their money working for them. And speaking of having your money work for you, cryptocurrency is the only investment right now that you can have your money working 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Nakia said we were groomed to have a job, to be safe, and a good income, right? Jay Alice says, I had to tell my father about how the 401k system and other systems will be gone. It sure will be gone. And people, mark my word, today is February the 13th. You're going to see a big stock market crash in the month of April, and it's going to steal a lot of people's 401ks and their pensions, right? Starting this year, people have already saw dips in their 401ks already, right? Derek White says, you're absolutely right, Queen. That's why Dave Ramsey is worth, yeah, he is. He's a multimillionaire. And the poor middle class, see, you cannot do what the rich and wealthy say. You have to do what the rich and wealthy are doing. Stop paying attention to what they are saying and start paying attention to what they are doing. Dave Ramsey do not work two jobs. He does not work two jobs. He is a businessman, and he sell you financial services like mutual funds that may give you a 10% return on your investment and gives you the long drawn out way. And he uses the Bible to manipulate, right, financial investing. much of what he teaches are not biblical finances. He teaches that it's wrong to get in debt. Well, when I read 2 Kings chapter 4, I look at a widow woman whose husband has just died, and she went to the prophet and said, my husband served you, and he was a faithful servant, and now he's dead, and he's left our family in debt. And now the debt collectors are coming to collect or to get my two sons to pay off this debt and have them to work as debt slaves. And the prophet told her to go and borrow. But this is the thing. He told her to go borrow vessels and fill them up with oil and resell them. Right? That's wholesale, resale, retail price, right? Buy low, sell high. He taught this woman how to make a home-based business. She did not have any money. She was broke and she had to borrow. Now, evidently, she had a great name. Her credit was good because she borrowed. He told her, don't borrow from afar. She borrowed from her neighbors. Her neighbors knew about her financial situation. They had to know that her husband had just died, right? They were her neighbors. So that she had to have a creditable name for them to allow her to borrow their pots or their vessels. Now, this is the thing. She borrowed to build a business. She didn't borrow to a credit card to go on a vacation or to go on shopping sprees or to get consumer debt. She borrowed to create corporation debt. She borrowed money to build a business. That's why I've been telling people, get your personal credit score up, improve your personal credit score so you can get business credit. So you can do business. That scripture I just showed you in Luke 19 and 13, they didn't have to work for that money. Their master gave it to them. And then he said, now I want you to go do business with it. Go and increase it. You are not increasing what you are given. Credit is something you don't even have to work for. You just have to qualify for. Now I'm preaching, teaching better than the amens I'm getting. Thank you, Gwen gave me an amen. Thank you, Gwen. We having credit church. Credit is not something you have to work for. It's something you have to qualify for. It's something you have to position yourself for. There we go. Now the amens are coming in. Ooh, I didn't mean to preach, but we're going here. And the scripture that he tell you, oh man, oh no man, nothing but to love him. That whole context of that chapter was just talking about if you owe someone honor, give them honor. Whatever you owe them, if you owe them money, pay them on time. Don't be late with your debtors. Whatever someone deserves, whatever homage that they deserve, give them what's due. That's what the whole chapter did not say it was a sin to be in debt. If it was a sin to be in debt, people, why does the Bible have the year of Jubilee? It's not a sin to be in debt, people, but it's sad if you use debt and it does not bring you a return on your investment. It's not a sin, but it's going to be a sad situation if you're using debt to be a consumer, to buy things that depreciate in value and not appreciate. So again, thank you all so much. Now we having credit church. I'm getting the amens. I'm getting the dropping bombs. I'm getting the thumbs up, right? And so people, you have to learn how to use credit, right? JP Morgan testified that, and I'm going to show it to you, that gold and silver is real money. Everything else is just credit. Even your cash is just credit. Yeah, even cash money. You know what people brag about. I got this much cash in the bank that's earning 0.000% interest rate. And they want to brag that I got $200,000 in the bank. That's a sign of financial ignorance, right? In my Michael Jackson voice, right? I'm saying this with love. That's a sign of financial ignorance, right? Because wealthy people, they will have money in the bank, right? Not to save, but to store temporarily, right? To store temporarily, to invest in something that appreciates in value, which is real estate, land, gold, silver, and now cryptocurrency. So JP Morgan says money is gold, nothing else. Right? He said everything else is credit. The only thing that is money, according to JP Morgan, is gold and silver. Everything, even your cash, is just credit. So if you are not converting that cash, right, into real assets, you have a depreciating asset. The only purpose of cash is to convert it into real assets. Now, let me break this down too. A lot of people want to ask about Bitcoin, right? Does Bitcoin has a store value like gold, right? Is Bitcoin a currency or is it a store value? I'm going to say this. Unless Bitcoin is backed by gold, it is not. It is not, right, a store value. Gold and silver is the only thing that is a store value because it is money. Everything else is credit. And as JP Morgan said, once you realize this, you will never be poor again. Right? However, Bitcoin is a very high yielding asset. It's a very high yielding asset. No one has ever lost money, right, in Bitcoin. Now let you know what, I wasn't gonna plan on going here, but I see this, and since we're having credit church, I'm gonna set some people free. I'm gonna set you free. Let me tell you something. In Luke and in Matthew, in the book of Matthew and in the book of Luke, when the master gave every man talents according to his ability, and they went flipped it and made profits, he did not tell them you can only buy gold, silver, and land. Some of you people are too religious to be rich. That was good. I'm gonna make that a book. I keep saying that. Will somebody put that in there for me? I want somebody to type this in there. And when you put two, put the two OO, which means also. Some of you all are too religious to be rich. Some of you all are too religious to be rich. If you don't want to invest in Bitcoin because it's not God's money, and you can't even afford gold at $1,800 an ounce, now you should be able to afford silver, right? Because silver is only about $30 an ounce if you can find it. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. So, like someone tried to debate with me. I got another amen in the house. Too religious to be rich. Someone wanted to debate the last live stream that I did and said, well, you need farmland, you need gold and silver. Look, I'm all for silver. I'm all for gold. I tell this every time I go live for spiritual reasons. You take the L out of gold, it says it reads God. It is God's money. Gold is created in cyberspace whenever there's a supernova, right, of the stars. Bitcoin is created on that same principle. But if you don't think that God has people on earth that can help you get rich with their intellectual knowledge, then you are absolutely wrong. Whoever created Bitcoin, and this is why it's referred to as digital gold, created it on the same premises as physical gold. And I'm just going to flat out tell you, no one that ever invested in Bitcoin, right, has ever been broke. I shared an article. I'm not sure if I have that article. That if just in 200, if in 209, right, $100 of Bitcoin invested. Let me see if I can pull it up. And 200 in the year 209, right? Let me show you how much this would have given you all a return on your investment if you just would have put $100 in. Bitcoin hits another record. Here's how much you had if you invested $100 in 2009. This is digital gold. And people, I believe in hidden messages. I know there are some quote unquote crypto experts that says Dogecoin is not going to be anything. But I noticed that Dogecoin is always right next to Bitcoin and Ethereum on these articles. I don't think this by mistake. I don't think the world's richest man is just going to endorse a shitcoin. Just because Dogecoin look like that now, I don't believe it's going to look like that in the future. But that's on another topic, right? If you would have invested $100 in Bitcoin when it's first launched in 2009, your returns could be in the millions or billions because the initial value of the asset was zero. Doesn't that sound like Dogecoin? But again, I'm not promoting Dogecoin. I'm just saying. One of my guest speakers said, Bitcoin, people thought Bitcoin was a joke. If you buy Bitcoin a little bit later and held the asset through the ups and downs, you'll see remarkable returns on your investment. So if you had $100, you'll have about 1,000 Bitcoins. People, today, the all-time high of Bitcoin was 48,000 plus dollars on Thursdays. That investment of $100 will be worth 48 million. And that doesn't even include the compounding interest that you would have accumulated, assuming that you bought it and held it. Assuming that you bought it and held it. Thank you, Queen Gwen. You already know I pray over you when you give. Queen said I'm great. Yes, honey, we having church on Saturday. Yes, we are. Yes, we are, hon. Thank you so much for the super chat. I was gonna go somewhere else with it, but I'm not. But really, you just do supposed to have church on Saturday. But I'm not gonna go there, right? Crypto and business credit can make money. Yes, you can, and all of this is biblical. And so back to my farmland, they was like, "Oh, get farmland, get gold and silver." And I told them, "Will you have the currency flow?" I got to stop calling it cash flow. The currency flow, right? Because pretty soon we're going to be done away with cash. Will you have the currency flow that it takes to upkeep farmland? Number one, you got to think about this. If you have farmland and food, right, those people in a recession will not have food and farmland. Then you have to have protective ways or measurements in order to protect your farmland, which means you're going to have the currency flow to protect your farmland to protect people from coming and stealing your food because they're hungry. And you're going to have the equipment. You're going to have to keep the grounds fertilized and upkeeping of your crops. You're going to have your John Deeres, whatever it takes. You're going to have, if you have no background knowledge about farmland, you're going to have to research and read how to be a farmer. And you're going to have 24/7 security. You're planning on having farmland in a depression to stop theft. You're going to need the currency flow. You're going to need the money. Have you ever thought about that? So what investment, right, can give you that besides cryptocurrency and silver right now. Now, I posted this on my YouTube, the article I just shared with you all, and someone stated or shared with me, they responded back, yeah, but people have forgotten their security codes, right? They have forgotten their security codes and their Bitcoin was stolen. I said, listen, you're talking about a whole other topic. Those are for people who decided to secure their Bitcoin in a wallet, whether it was digital wallet, right, a code or hard wallet. And maybe they did forget their security code, but those are just small instances. Those are just small instances, you know. And so now that people have made those errors or mistakes, people are getting educated. You need to find a way to secure your password. Learn from the mistakes of others, but don't allow that to provoke fear into you, right? Uh, yeah, that's where you're going to need the currency flow in order to upkeep and secure your crops and your farmland. You're going to need it. So I may be wrong now. I'm not saying I'm never wrong. But I will say this, I think I'm more right than wrong. Now, I won't say that I'm never wrong, but I think I'm more right than wrong. People are too religious to be rich. You didn't even, some people that saying, oh, that's not God's money. You didn't even know that gold and silver was real money. Yes, gold and especially silver is a better return on your investment. We'll appreciate. And then some people tell me that, but gold and silver is highly manipulated by the powers that be. Listen, silver already should be about $1,000 an ounce, and it's at $30 according to man's system. Gold should already be about $20,000 an ounce, right? And it's at $1,800. So they even manipulate the price of gold and silver, or what you can resell. And so let me get into the second part about you're already screwed. You know what? He helped to do the screwing. He told you to get 2 jobs. He didn't teach you about taxes. He didn't teach you that was the biggest stealer of your wealth. He didn't teach you to get a home-based business or to get a business so that you won't be overpaying in taxes, right? The Bill Gates Warren Buffett percentage-wise pays less in taxes than his secretary. See, this is the financial education you should have been learning. I've had people to tell me that they had to reduce their hours on their second job because they was getting taxed so high when income tax return came because they had 2 jobs and they had to pay back. So they had to reduce hours on the part-time job. And I just told them, get you a home-based business for $229, right? Get you $500 or $600 more, or even if one person got $1,400 more out of their paycheck through the home-based business that I had them, right? Yes, gold and silver will shoot, but in the meantime, right, and you can purchase gold and silver with Bitcoin. In the meantime, until we are waiting until the suppression of gold and silver is uplifted, then why not put your cash on kryptonite, is what I call it. So let's talk about the food system real quick. The Rockefeller Foundation advocated for major changes in the U.S. food system in response to this quote unquote code is what I'm going to call it. So they even calling this reset the table. You heard about the Great Reset. What's the Great Reset? The Great Reset means that we are changing from debt-based money, which is what cash is, to debt-free money. So the Rockefeller, now, oh my God, you all need to study Rockefeller, right? You want to know who owns the Feds? The Feds and government are not the same. Rockefeller family is one of those families that make up the federal government. I mean, they are the one that loans the money to the government that you have to work through your job and taxation and high taxation and increase in pricing to repay these rich and wealthy families. You're not repaying the government, you're repaying these rich and wealthy families, which is what the Federal Reserve is made up of. It is not government. The Federal Reserve is not government and is not a bank. And they have no reserves. They print the money or they digitally transfer the money to the government. The government distributes to the economy, to the American people, and some non-Americans. And then American people have to pay back in higher taxation, right? And higher prices. It's called inflation. And then when you have high unemployment, it's called a combination of hyperinflation. So now they're calling this reset the table. 40% of Americans unable to access $400 even in times of emergency, and 37 million Americans already in food insecurity. The food system has been stretched to its limits as safety net programs struggle to meet historic demands. So what does this mean, people? This Rockefeller Foundation and this is going to have more control over your food. Where you think you are buying organic, you don't know what type of food you're intaking and eating. Speaking of farmland, Bill Gates, now the largest farmland owner in America. Listen, it would do great if anybody had farmland right now and you can afford to secure it for what we're going through and you know exactly what's been put into your foods. But people, I've been saying this for a year now. You're going to see a spike increase in pricing in your gas and your groceries. These rich and wealthy people control the farmland, and Bill Gates and now the Rockefeller Foundation reset the table. That's in relations to the Great Reset. So my thing is, I don't disagree with what Dave said, but I do disagree that he taught you and led you down this path for years with his financial advice. Minnesota says working in other natives to open up their lands to farms. You're going to have 24-hour security if you have farmland to make sure that your crops and your food, agriculture is not being stolen for what we're going through. You're going to have currency flow. And I'm calling it currency from cash flow because we're moving out of a cash system. See, the federal government, people, cannot issue payments, but central banks can. Meaning that when you get your stimulus, for example, and when they change to universal basic income, because it will change, people will get maybe at minimum $2,000 a month. It will be on blockchain technology, right? And this, right? Let me pull up this article. Blockchain technology, people, is not what you all think it is. It's not what you think it is. Blockchain technology is going to be a global database or database, whatever way you want to say it. Exactly. That's why Kroger never shut down. This is why stores are open and schools are closed, right? You can to a certain extent, but you know what? I'm talking bigger than this, Derek. I'm talking about if you are the only person in your surrounding area that has crops on farmland, you're going to have to put protective security measures in place to secure it. Right? You saying most of it is already secure is trust. I wouldn't trust anything is secure from central banks. Because let me explain to you this why. My Brandon Brown broke down blockchain technology on the last live stream. I think it was Thursday night. But let me share with you all what blockchain really is going to do. All of your privacy that you had with cash is going to be gone. Blockchain is going to, number one, make sure that no one bank now can just hold millions in assets in a vault. Blockchain is going to ensure that no one bank can hold millions in assets in a vault. It's going to ensure that all banks, right, can hold millions of assets. This is a great reset, World Economic Forum, everything globally, blockchain technology. So now, all of your public records, all of your transactions, if you're on universal basic income, they're probably going to put disclaimers that if you do not use your $2,000 in your digital wallet, right? And PayPal wants to be the digital wallet for central banks. PayPal has already put in their proposal. So what it'll look like if PayPal gets approved is you just download your PayPal app, take out you use that to transfer your $2,000 on your purchases, right? When you go to the stores, um, electronically and digital transactions, right? And so now all of your information is going to be on blockchain. Your car titles, your property titles, your marriage, your birth certificates, your death certificate, your government benefits. If you're a veteran or a senior citizen, and all of your taxes. So when you used to be able to slide this cash under the table and put it in, pay someone and put in a birthday card, that is no longer. Every transaction you make will be taxed. Everything. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. Let's listen to this. I'm going to share with you all what blockchain does, right?
I predict within 10 years, we will go about our daily lives and we use blockchain once without even knowing it. I will even further my claims that within 10 years, we will have our identities on a blockchain. Just last year, a top government official made this claim. We want to make our government the first blockchain-powered government in the world by 2020. Can you guess where this country came from? Maybe the US, somewhere in Europe, Japan? Neither. This statement came from a government official in Dubai. Just last year, last November, the first digital ID in Zug, Switzerland was registered on a blockchain. And the country of Estonia uses blockchain-like technology to secure health records and a shared government database that allows them to seamlessly move their entire government and deny desperate leaders the ability to change or alter that history. Where did this blockchain revolution come from? It seems like it just out of nowhere exploded, and it has. And that's because people are realizing that blockchain technology contains revolutionary solutions and not just 10 to 15% gains in efficiency. One of the tools the blockchain uses is something called triple entry accounting. It takes general accounting one step further and provides a third entry, which is public, meaning you, I, can look at all the transactions that are going on in our blockchain. We can see the state of every account. We can even see how much money is in circulation, and we can audit it.
Let me pause. He said they can see how much money is in circulation and they can audit it. They can see how much money is in circulation and they can audit it.
I ask you, can you tell me your net worth right now? All your income, your assets, your investments, minus your debt? How long will it take you to figure that out, down to the penny? See, if we want a blockchain, we can do that immediately. So imagine being able to do that right now, immediately. Now imagine doing that for the organization you work for. And imagine doing that for the government.
Okay, he said all of your assets will be traced and known, from your income, from your debt to your expenses, every single thing you do. Or as Bobby Brown would say, every little step you take. And now again, it allows banks globally, the central banks globally, to hold millions of your assets in these vaults. Everything from your rent, every transaction, once it's universal blockchain. You're saying it is a secure way, but there's another method behind the madness. See, a lot of people are going to think like this. Oh, we're moving to cryptocurrency. We getting universal basic income. I don't have a job and I'm getting $2,000 a month. No, it's to give governments more power and control over everything you do. And most people are going to look at it as the answer. That's what the government do. They create the problem, they wait for the response, and then they say, oh, we have the solution. Mika Thompson said the banks are already doing it. Blockchain technology, right? I'm convinced I want cryptocurrency, yet who has the best and safe the crypto wallet, and where's the best place to store my Dogecoin? I'm not saying for Doge. I'm gonna be honest, there are other altcoins, alternative coins that are outperforming Doge right now, right? They're removing the middleman, but you're also losing your freedom and security in the process. You ought to understand America is one of the last liberated countries. We're going to start looking more like China, even with your social credit score. Everything you make is going to be under surveillance with this new 5G, Wi-Fi technology, and under the blockchain. Now, simply Sean, I don't give recommendation advice on how to store cryptocurrency, because if I did that, then people would know my storage, and I don't want people to do that. I would suggest just YouTube, the best ways to store your cryptocurrency. Just YouTube that topic, and you do your due diligence and research on how the best ways to store your cryptocurrency. Getting feedback. And so do your due diligence, do your research. I don't do that because, if I give you recommended ways to store it, then people will know my ways of storing it. That's just like people ask, how do I store my gold and silver? I say in a vault in Singapore, right? I'm just, that's just information that I'm not going to provide publicly, right? But do your research, and people just understand when it comes to financial education, you have to do your part. You have to do your own research, right? The biggest reason why people are living in poverty and they're poor and they're living paycheck to Monday, right? Not paycheck to paycheck, but as Dr. Lynn Richardson says, paycheck to Monday means you get paid Friday and Monday you're broke, is because they don't want to research. That every poor person or home that's in poverty has more televisions in their homes than books, right? And so just, do your own research. But I do have a cash to crypto report, right? That will, and I even have some people that have purchased this book, and it is an ebook, it's not a physical book. And it's an ebook for a reason, so that you can click on the links that's within the book. But I have people that purchase the book and they will ask me questions about an altcoin, right? For example, Cardano, ADA coin, right? Had big gains, and I have all the educational information about every coin. It's 30 pages, ebook. And I'm like, you purchased the book. You could not have taken the time to read it. Every high performing altcoin and cryptocurrency is in that book. And I really woke up this morning and I had a thought. I'm like, I need to change the price of this to $100 because this is what it's worth. Because when people look at something that's $35, right, they don't value it. They don't think that they are getting the information to become a thousandaire or a millionaire. because of the investment cost of $35. I woke up this morning, I'm like, I think I'm changing the price of my book, this ebook, to $100 because that's what it's worth. That's what it's worth. So let me show you all, and then I'm logging off because I'm going out. China is already making plans to take, now it didn't say their cash, digital currency global. You see you see the cash, the US dollar in this picture? Let me blow it up. China, and let me tell you why I believe this is going to happen. First, all countries on the World Economic Forum are going to be digitalized. Again, that helps the United States and from creating debt-based currency. That eradicates the government now having to take out loans from the Federal Reserve, right? And so once that happens, no longer is the currency or the cash debt-based. They won't owe, right? They will not owe for the money that they borrow from the Fed. Everything will be digitalized, right? So now it'll be debt-free money, but it'll be controlled highly on the blockchain. And it won't help with inflation, increasing pricing. Exactly. It's a one world order. It's called one world order. Yes, China has a lot of gold. A lot of gold. And you know what China is saying? We don't want this anymore. It's worthless. In 1971, President Nixon took the dollar, removed it from the gold standard, and the dollar then became Federal Reserve notes. It became an IOU to China and other countries who traded with the dollar that we owe you the gold, right? And other countries, China and Spain, was coming in the 70s on their warships to come and confiscate and take back their gold, and they was going to dump this paper fiat currency on the United States. Like, you all can have it. It's worthless. It's not backed by anything. For the people that ask, what is Bitcoin backed by? Neither is your dollar. Your dollar is backed by military. That means other countries have to accept it, or we may have to go into war. So China now has accumulated more gold in the United States, which means they have the real money. And China also, right, is producing more goods. Their GDP, global domestic products, is higher, which means United States are not producers of anything. See, if in 1971, if Nixon would not have removed the dollar from the gold standard, it would have made us better producers, and which means it would have forced us, because other countries would have wanted their gold, right? So in order to protect the gold and not have to give it to other countries, it would have forced the United States to become better producers. But now we, the United States, are receiving more imports than exports, meaning we are receiving even agriculture, more corn, more agriculture products from China, more technological products. They are years ahead of us technology-wise than what we are importing to them. So China is making a stance and say, look, if you want us to continue to import to you, it's going to be done with the digital one. We don't want your cash anymore. See, China is the second holder of U.S. cash or U.S. debt. The first holder of U.S. debt is American citizens, right? American citizens. The first holder of United States debt is American citizen, because you work for this through a job. You don't get business income where you are taxed less. You get job income, which you are taxed 30 to 40%. And then independent contractors are taxed even higher, or people with LLCs at 40 to 50%, or soloists or specialists, doctors and lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. And if you are an investor, you're taxed even less at 0%, right? And so now, my lips are getting a little dry. Now China is saying, you know what, we'll continue to import to United States, but we're not doing it with that cash dollar anymore. It's gonna be digital yuan, and you know what? The digital yuan will more likely be the global currency. Now, does that mean in the United States that well, already in New York, they already have it set up in New York to accept the digital yuan. But does that mean in the United States that the digital yuan will be the currency? No. Our central banks will still have a digital currency as well. What it means is whenever we import and export with China, it will not be in the digital dollar for the United States. It will be in the exchange of the yuan, which will empower them and make the United States digital coin even weaker, which means it will lose even more of its purchasing power. Listen, this physical cash since has already lost 98% of its purchasing power. What a dollar used to buy yesterday, it can't buy you today. Right. And I had let me see if I can find this on my Facebook page, a great illustration of that, right? That I can show you. And then another thing that I want to bring to your attention is that, okay, I'm just reading some. Is that blacks and specifically and Latinos have lost more jobs during this health pandemic than any other race. Than any other race. Let me share this article. Black workers are losing jobs twice as the rate as white workers during this pandemic, according to Fortune. So I was trying to play the video. Let me see. So you all can.
To build a better future. C3.ai. This is.
I should let that play. It's showing you what the new fourth industrial revolution is going to be.
Enterprise AI.
Artificial intelligence. Let me replay that. Look, blacks 24%, Hispanics 20%, Asians 19%, whites 11%. Workers reporting hours cut, Asians 37%, blacks 31%. The numbers shift by race. Black workers 16.7% unemployment, white workers 14.2%. People of color are more concerned about losing their jobs. 64% of whites are not worried. 40% of blacks are not worried, but 56% are worried, and 57% of Hispanics are worried. 66% of Asians are worried about losing their jobs. Let's replay that. All right. The virus has. I don't believe that. It said his people of color. I believe. I don't believe that. You know, they want to make this big push for minorities and specifically and people in the black. I don't like to say African Americans, but to get this vaccine. But let's play this. It's a reason why. In Wisconsin, they're stating 27% of blacks in our death. I don't believe that those stats either, right? because only 6% of Wisconsin population is black anyway, right? But the point is that I'm trying to show you all is that black, Hispanics, and Asians have lost their jobs at a higher rate than whites and Caucasians. So you tell me what's your plan to grow your cash. Someone said people got to create their own businesses. Listen, according to Robert Kiyosaki, the best time to create your own business is after a recession, not during one. Because then you had time to analyze the market, to see this shift change. Let me pull up this article. It's already saying that people do not have the skills needed for this new industrial revolution. You saying create your own businesses. You don't even know what businesses would be on demand. That's why I told people to work from home, learn Zoom, learn StreamYard, learn home-based business, learn technology concepts. Black Americans and educators are in trouble as economic recovery slows. No job, no rent. Residents display this on bed sheets. They're protesting for the cancellation of rent due to loss of jobs. And working black mothers are already falling behind. Out of the 661,000 jobs added, the labor market is it's even higher now. This article is a little old. It's not updated. This was October 2nd, 2020. It's 330 million jobs now. And the share of American workers, right? These are the percentage of more blacks in particular and black males and black men. 80% have lost their jobs. And when it comes to the new, right, economy, the fourth industrial revolution, they're saying that 60% of people are not even trained for the workforce. They don't have the skills. See if I can find that article. They don't even have the skills for the workforce that's headed forward. So when a recession comes, people are not going to do business with people that just created jobs. They're not going to do business with newbies on the block. How long you been established? Why? Because their money is going to be scarce. They're going to look for people that have a track record, that has history, and has credibility. So the pickings are going to be slim. So what you have to do is learn the skills for the workforce according to the World Economic Forum, where this is headed. Either enhance those skills or learn to work from home using technology, because this is where it's headed. This is the World Economic Forum, right? So it says workers will need to develop between right now, and 2030 if they don't want to be left behind. Look, Jerome Powell has already said we're going into a new economy. We will never go back to the old economy. Right? While you're saying create a job to do landscaping, they may have robots that's doing landscaping. So it's saying the physical and manual skills, unskilled labor such as drivers, assembly line workers, and well-skilled workers, even nurses, electrician, and craft people. Right? Because artificial intelligence, robots, Sophie, it's taking over jobs. So you have to know what type of business to build. You have to know what workforce, right? This is another thing that I like to show. Yes, the new fiscal year is coming up. And someone asked me why April when I said stock market crash. This has a lot to do with it because of the new fiscal year that's coming up. Nashville says, why did President Nixon take gold from back in the dollar? Because Spain saw that the United States were printing more of this paper money, cash, currency, dollar, and they knew that that devaluated the dollar and that it was losing its value. And Spain, the United States heard, or that Spain was able to coming on their warship, and they were dumping our dollars. They brought the cash, and they wanted to come back and get their. They wanted to get their gold, and that would take a lot of money from the United States. I don't. I think China right now has more physical gold, which by constitution is real money. See, this is stuff that Dave Ramsey doesn't teach you. He doesn't teach you what real money is. He tell you to save money. Why would anybody save cash when it's losing? It's the lowest yielding asset. It's still an asset because you can go and purchase groceries and gas, right? And the services. You can exchange for now until it gets digitalized. But you put it in a savings account, you get 0.8% interest on it. The banks won't even pay you to store it for you. And the more you keep it in a savings account and then your gas and groceries increase, you're losing money by saving it. So it's not the only advantage of having cash is that you have an emergency and your credit is so bad that you don't have credit cards in case of emergencies. And now you have cash on hand, right, for emergencies. But saving cash is not advantageous, nor is having large sums of cash just sitting in a banking account because it has no stored value. It does you no good. It's losing its purchasing power by the day. So what do? You use cash to convert it into real assets, things that's going to increase in value, right? Increase in value. BitPay say they are compatible with Apple. Exactly. Everything is going cryptocurrency. And so that's the question someone asked me earlier, why April this year? The new fiscal year is coming. See, a lot of people don't know, you just work January through April to pay taxes. That's why the deadline for taxes used to be April 15th. I don't know if they're going to change that because they just Monday they pushed back the window to file for your tax return to the 15th of February. But that's why they always had April 15th as your deadline to file taxes without being penalized. That represents the new fiscal year. So this is when the stock market is going to crash because United States is trillion in debt. Let me show you all the U.S. debt clock. Where do you think they're going to get their money from to repay their debt? Pensions and 401ks, and by moving to digital assets where they don't have to print debt-based dollars anymore. That means the government won't be indebtedness to the Federal Reserves. And the central banks will now hold all of the assets, millions of assets. And when people get universal basic incomes, because they don't have jobs, this is going to be issued through central banks. You're going to see a lot of your commercial banks, you haven't already saw that, close. I do agree. You buy physical silver, but also you grow your cash in cryptocurrency. Because the suppression of silver, we don't know when that's going to be lifted. Again, silver is already underpriced, right? It's not enough people working. And a lot of these jobs are not coming back. So they're going to put people on universal basic income, right? Their jobs are not coming back. But it's going to be on blockchain technology. We have $27 trillion of debt. So moving from creating or printing debt-based fiat currency to debt-free money through having digital dollars. Look at the dollar to silver ratio. It's 4,813 for every dollar printed, right, per ounce of silver. The price of silver is $30 an ounce. That's highly suppressed for what a $27 trillion debt system base. Gold, for every 34,662 cash printed, are digitalized from the feds, we have this much backing for the ounce of gold in the reserve. And as I stated earlier, everything on the blockchain now can be and will be audited. Everything you do, all of your private information, all of your assets, central banks will hold them in their vaults now through digital dollars and cryptocurrency. So this was the picture that I printed or I shared on my Facebook in 1998. This is what inflation is, people. $20 was able to get you this much full cart of groceries. And in 2005, about half of that. And then 2014, maybe. And this is so true. You can right now, 3 items at the grocery store is about $20. 3 items. 3 items. And this is just from 1998. So now in 2021, they have President Trump on the cash. $20 can barely get you anything and grocery. And you probably say, oh, not yet. Just keep waiting. We're still in February of 2021. What this means is soon we're going to be digitalized. Cryptocurrency. And now the Bitcoin in 2012 could have got you 3 items, right? Where the cash in 2014 got you 3. Then in 2013, the very next year, Bitcoin could have got you a half a cart, 1 Bitcoin of groceries. And now in 2014, Bitcoin gets you a whole cart of grocery and the overflow. Right? Now 2021, 1 Bitcoin can get you a Tesla. You know how expensive Tesla vehicles can be. So for people that says Bitcoin is not an investment, it's not a currency, it's a high yielding asset. And if you're planning on having farmland, if you're planning on growing your cash until the price of gold and silver is not suppressed, right? Then cryptocurrency to me is the only solution to what we're going. And why cryptocurrency? Because people right now, you can find cryptocurrency in altcoins, right? Some still are under $1. Once we have fully changed to a digital system globally, New World Order, you won't find these at these prices anymore. They're going to be too expensive for you to invest in. Silver right now, you can even the dealers online with silver, Bob, they're out of stock. Most silver right now is scarce where people can't even obtain silver right now. If you go online to the online dealers, I don't think they're going to offer silver for much longer if they still are offering. If you went through AmpMex and SD Bullion and JM Bullion, I don't think they're going to offer it much longer. So soon the window to obtain silver is going to be closed as well. Someone says Dash is up 53% today. Where else can you find that type of return? I got into the graph last week. I got 63% in one day. And so that's why I said the stock market is going to crash in April. The new fiscal year starts in April on government time. Yes, JP Morgan did. They hoarded a lot of silver. JP Morgan hoarded over 350 million ounces of silver. People, that's 38% of the world's population. Silver is going to be used twofold for industrial use and monetary use. And it's going to spear this 5G technology that's needed for the global digital system. It's also going to be used for Tesla. It's also going to be used for RFID chips. It's also going to be used for electronic batteries, for your smartphones that people will need, for cryptocurrency, technology, right? So I hope you all had silver. I had both of these reports on my website, the Queen of Coins, silver stacking report. And people, when you go to cashoncrypto.com and order this report, please fill out all of your information. That's the only way that I can complete the order, and it will automatically email you the report. So fill out that information, your name, your email address, all of that information that is required on the Cash on Crypto. It's crypto with a K.com report. This is the Queen of Coins Cash to Crypto report. And I also do have silver stacking report. A lot of people need to know the financial education behind what type of silver, the difference between 0.999 silver and 0.9999 silver, the difference between fine silver and industrial silver, and what silver that when you sell it back for your capital gains to a dealer does not have to report when it's called IRA approved, right? They do not have to report this to the IRS. You need to know what silver coins, rounds, bars. You need to know all of that education and terminology. This is what the Queen of Coins report have, right? And so it's called a 1099B form, right? 1099B form. You need to know what silver, when you resell it for your capital gains, you do not have to have a 1099B form when you turn it into the dealer. So if you want just the Queen of Crypto report, go to cashoncrypto.com. However, if you want both reports, you can get two for $60 or one for $35, right? Then you'll need to go to this website, fixmycreditandcash.com, and I have it strolling on the bottom. Now, this website, you cannot fill in your information. You just have to purchase through Cash App, and then in the Cash App, in the notes, put your name and email address. You can get both, two for $60 on fixmycreditandcash.com, or you can just invest in the Queen of Crypto report for $35, and that's on cashoncrypto.com. Hey, I'm signing out, you all. I shared a wealth of information. This is going to be the greatest financial reset that this generation has ever experienced. You need to prepare yourself. Right now, cryptocurrency is the biggest returns on your gains to get in now before the globe has transitioned to, right? Before the globally has transitioned to digital currency. And again, digital currency is not the blessing that you all think is going to be, especially on the blockchain. You're right. I probably will increase my pricing tomorrow, especially on the Queen of Crypto report, right? Tomorrow or Monday, right? My price is going to increase. I'm probably going to change that price to either $50 or $100 on that Queen of Crypto report. So this is going to be the last time that you probably see that for $35. But I have to go in on my website and change that, right, on my website. So that's going to take me a while to get to it. It won't be tonight, right? I'm going out. Supposed to have been out a long time ago. It won't be tonight. So maybe by Monday or Tuesday, I will change the price, right? You all are welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, right? Make sure you hit the thumbs up, you like and you share. And I'm signing out. But again, here's to your peace and your prosperity, your health and your wealth, your credit, crypto, and your cash flow. And again, Dave Ramsey was correct. If a $400, $600 or $1,400 stimulus make that big change in your life, then that's not a good situation at all. Now we know the stimulus is used to stimulate the economy. Some people did just that. They didn't pay their rent. They didn't even save it for a rainy day. They went out, they bought steaks, they bought seafood, crab legs. You had the Super Bowl, they partied. They stimulated the economy. They did everything except stimulate themselves. And as a result, people, by April, we're going to see the shift, right? we're going to see the shift, and it's not going to be good. This economy is going to hell. Are you preparing yourself accordingly? As Dave Ramsey said, you might have a mental problem, might have an income problem, lack of financial education problem, right? Relationship problem. However, his education and methods didn't prepare you for any of this. And if you're still following them, you're going to be left behind too. Long gone is not. 330 million Americans don't have jobs. You can't find 2 jobs. There are no 2 jobs available. And 2 jobs was never the answer anyway. 1 job was never the answer, right? You're going to have to put your cash on crypto and get a financial education and financial management, right? I'm signing out. Queen of Credit.